Hi, I'm Bryce Newbert. I came to India just a week ago to have multiple surgeries performed, and I've just had a wonderful experience. I'm from the United States. I had done cosmetic surgery tourism before I went to Thailand last time, but I've been studying up on India and the potential of doing it here just for the cost reasons, and because I had a good experience with doctors in another foreign country. I imagined that I could have another experience here. And so I went looking and found some information online, and that began my search. I'm almost 57 years old, and I've always had kind of a younger face. People have always said, "Hey, Bryce, and you always look so young." And so as I've gotten older and older, I've started to see what a lot of my friends started to see years and years ago, and I just thought there's a way to deal with this. Surgery's getting better, and so I found myself kind of wanting to looking at my face. My ex-wife looked at me once, and my eyes were so droopy, and she looked at me, and she almost exasperatedly said something, and I was just like, I didn't know whether to apologize or what. So my face is doing what it's doing, and so I started to be more proactive about the idea of potentially doing plastic surgery. My wife did some in the States, and it was so expensive. And then when I started to think about it, I thought, well, how can I do it in a more cost-effective way? I think when we, as an American, I live with Google, and I ask questions, and certainly I can ask questions of local surgeons there too, and I did do that. What would you do? What procedures would you do with me? Just those types of things, realizing that it was going to cost me $20,000, $25,000 seriously to get these procedures done. But then I went online and I started to look, and I did look in India, because India really prices itself about as good as you can get for the level of education that they have, the fact that they speak English, communication. So I started literally looking into India, and that was the first thing that drew me to Dr. Gupta. The first thing that I noticed about Dr. Gupta and his office, his staff, not to mention that the rankings that he had and the reviews that he had were stellar, was that he was on it. He was very proactive about getting in touch with me, asking questions. When medical tourism happens, a lot of people, it happens really quickly. They're like, I need to be there next week because I'm going on business or whatever. And so I found them to be extremely proactive, and they were asking all the right questions right off the bat. What do you want? What do you see? I was sending pictures back and forth. They were responding. And so I found myself not only confident because of the level of his reviews, the level of confidence because of what I was seeing on the ground. One thing that I think a lot of people are afraid of, and I've traveled a lot in my life, and I've spent time in kind of scarier situations, I would imagine, but quite frankly, my experience where this is concerned, I came alone. I didn't bring anybody. It's always nice to bring somebody if you can, because they can help tend to your needs and even help you up, in the morning or whatnot. But I came alone, and I had multiple procedures, and I had a wonderful experience. I probably could have had even a more wonderful experience, because all I really ever had to do was ask them, his staff, and they were there. They were responsive. This is the medicine you may need in terms of prescription. I started to have, my vein, just for my IV, it was a little hard, and so I had a question, and they got right back with me and said, we need to do this. It's very normal, to put me at rest and whatnot. And so again, the idea of coming alone, and medical tourism, the tourism part is always a little bit, is it tourism? But I've had an opportunity. I came in early, I had a chance to eat the food and to take part in the culture here in New Delhi. And then after the surgery, I had a chance to go down to the Taj. And I was able to kick back at the Taj Mahal, beautiful hotels down there. And again, it's their willingness to schedule you in a way that's going to be the most comfortable. And I had multiple surgeries, and I was still able to do these things. So I had, my first was my rhinoplasty. I've always had a bump in my nose and a long nose, just disproportionate to my face. And so that was my biggest worry, was my rhinoplasty. So I had rhinoplasty done. I'm thrilled. It's still, the tip is still going to be swollen for quite some time, but everything, the slope, it's just perfect. I had that done. I had my upper bleph done, to kind of help with. I had lower bleph done and a supra because I didn't want my forehead to increase in Thailand last year. But here, I was going to have the upper bleph. And one other thing that Dr. Gupta talked to me about was fat transfer, because we were going to be pulling out some fat. He said, let's transfer some of this fat into this area here, because that will bring the youth back into your face again too. You've lost a lot of that upper fat, and so they did that. They did I just hit on my lower chin. You see that it's a little big right now, but they did is it thermatite? The thermatite treatment where they heat it up under there, and then it will literally tighten up there. So I had that done. I had in the ab area. I wasn't huge, but it was actually astounding how much fat they brought in to show me afterwards. They were able to take fat from my waist, from my oblique areas, from my back areas. And then on top of that, Dr. Gupta does an extraordinary thing called where he sculpts, and he uses the technology. Is it Vaser that sculpts and whatnot? He uses technology where it's not the invasive thing where they come in and they back and forth. They literally, it's the vibrations and whatnot of the tools that they use. And then they literally mark out and they sculpt and give you a six-pack. They're able to come in here and to find out where those muscles were and kind of redefine those areas. So I'm walking out of here with a wonderful V shape and a six-pack, which at 57 is pretty amazing to be able to have that. So I'm in the film business, and aesthetics, they're really important to me. Now, when my ex-wife had her rhinoplasty done, it was like, I wanted to make sure it was at that level. And with me, I thought, well, maybe the levels are going to be, commensurate. They all go to school. They all have hours and hours and hours of training. And so it's just a matter of finding doctors with good reviews, people who've had those experiences. So I was hesitant. The price, it's so much. You can't say enough about the price difference between going to Beverly Hills or going to New York or going to wherever to a plastic surgeon and coming into New Delhi. It's night and day. Thousands of dollars cheaper, but that ultimately wasn't. I was still willing to pay that if I needed to get the results. What I'm thrilled about, and what I'm thrilled about after this experience, especially with the multiple surgeries, is that I know I'm going to get the very same thing at that high level that people pay people in the United States for, maybe even at a better level, because of the nature of the rhinoplasties that they do here. We're in India. It's rhinoplasty heaven here. So many of the young ladies, they come in, the young men, they come in to have that particular thing fixed. And I came in partly because I knew that they do rhinoplasties here with the hump in ways that we probably don't in the United States. So yeah, it is a mix between the money and it is cost advantageous, but in the end, I'm thrilled because of the results. More and more people are comfortable with the idea of cosmetic surgery because we have to live in our own skin. Certainly Hollywood, forever. Those actors know that it's just part of doing their life. And once you start to understand the nature of it isn't rocket science to come in and do cosmetic surgery, whether it's rhinoplasty, whether it's a facelift, whether it's a neck lift, whether it's even working and losing some of the weight that you've got. It generally happens pretty quick, and you're in and out of the trauma pretty quickly. It was one day where I was in the hospital, and the next day. Once I was passed out, I was recuperating and felt every day. I look in the mirror, I think, okay, I'm getting to that place, and it's not going to be. It'll be maybe 4 weeks from now, and I'm gonna look at myself and go, I'm so thrilled that I did that. Sometimes you have to work through it, and that's what I think medical tourism is a great way to do it, is that you're not at home doing this, where everybody's asking you questions, can I help you, and I'm so worried about you. I'm here, and I'm in a beautiful hotel. I'm in a 5-star hotel in India. 5-star hotel in India for about $75 a night. In the United States, it cost me $400 or $500 a night. So can I do that? Absolutely. I'm eating meals. I'm out of people don't have to see me. That's one of the best ways and reasons to get on a plane and go do your surgery elsewhere. is because you're going to have a great experience regardless. It's going to be hard, but again, I think that they go above and beyond here. I had one experience here where they came to my hotel. I had a little bit of a throb and I was worried, kind of hyper worried about what this thing is. And they got on and they said, no, that's pretty normal. And the next thing I know, I got a knock at my door. They came in and they took care of me right there at the hotel. It was amazing, astounding. You would not get that kind of service in the United States. So Dr. Gupta asked me if I'd say something to him and the team. And first off, you guys did a phenomenal job. I appreciate your smiles. I want to take this gesture back to the United States because I love it. It's a sign of respect, and I felt that every time. It's like, I'm here for you. And so I would let you know, first off, I appreciated everything that you did for me in making this stay a good stay for me and a comfortable stay. I know that the night of my surgery, sister, I can't remember her name, but I just know her sister, she was there, and she's got patience, and patience in more than one way. If you want the English patience and the patience that you have to have with patients, she was able to work with me and talk to me about what they would do, and I kind of found myself in I never had to deal with this in the United States kind of an attitude. But at the same time, I had the response that I had. They were always in there, and you always were looking at for my best good. The face-to-face has been excellent. Getting on, I think it's been only a week, maybe just over a week, that Dr. Gupta and I were on camera together, just on FaceTime, whatever, together, and talking, and he was drawing sketches and wondering about things. And then he called me a couple of times after that and said, did you get that? You understand that? Okay, are you good? From that all the way to being here and all of the back and forth, the WhatsApp, text messaging back and forth, I'd say, hey, what about this? And within a minute, they'd get back and say, hey, this is the situation, this is what you would do, and this is why you don't need to worry about this, or you may need to worry about this. Whatever it was, the communication has been excellent. So I appreciate everybody at the hospital. They've been taking care of me. They were there with me, so they knew a lot of kind of what was going to happen with me. But the people here at the clinic, too, have been excellent in communicating not only with me, but back to Dr. Gupta, and he's been able to get with me. And it hasn't just been Dr. Gupta said this. A lot of times it's been I just talked to Dr. Gupta, and he wanted to make sure, and then Dr. Gupta would follow up. So from that standpoint, it's just been excellent. It's been wonderful. And that's a part of this that needs to be shared with the others from the Western countries, is that they're going to have that kind of quality follow-up here. If you're considering plastic surgery, cosmetic surgery, at any level, and you're considering the idea of medical tourism, I don't think I'd go anywhere else. The experience that I just had here, it's second to none, literally. From the response that I had from people here during the procedures, all of the prep work that happened. Dr. Gupta was very honest with me about things and what he could do, what he wouldn't do, what he felt like he should do. And he even offered something that in the end I think is going to be quite wonderful in reshaping some of my cheek area here. So I think that they've gone out of their way for me here. I think it's part of the culture too. Even the people at the hotel, they kind of went out of their way for me to follow up with me. I wanted to go to the Taj, and I knew that they would take care of it here if I called and said, hey, I want to go to the Taj, I want to take a day trip, what can I do? But at the hotel, they were in touch with me, and they followed me through the whole thing to make sure that I was on the train and getting back off. And it's just part of the culture here. It's a wonderful place to come into. I think that Dr. Gupta and his staff, they really take it upon themselves as an extra concern that they have that people are willing to get on a plane and go so far out of their way to come here. And it's a long flight to get here. And I would put your concerns to rest. But once you're in their hands, you can literally ask them anything, and they'll take care of you. I'm Bryce from Salt Lake City, Utah, and I just got done having cosmetic surgery here in India, of all places. I did my research, and I found in the end that Dr. Gupta and his staff at Innovation were just phenomenal. And I have to tell you that my experience here has been wonderful. I had multiple surgeries, rhinoplasty, I had an upper bleph, I had a chin kind of treatment where they tightened the skin there, I had an ab, some liposuction, and then they etched my six-pack out. And it's just been wonderful. I was able to get through all of those surgeries in one general anesthesia. And then I've been to the Taj since. I'm staying in a 5-star hotel. Wonderful treatment from them. And they are just on it. They're just on it. Good people. Dr. Gupta is the best.